everyone, this is Sally with the Polka Dot Life. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a really cute fun fold card for you today, and I have several examples. I just got carried away with playing with a bunch of sets and papers and all kind of fun things. This layout allows you to use that designer series paper that we all love to use, and we always want to show more than one pattern. So this allows you to do that. These cards come together super quickly and can be used for many occasions. Now, I needed to remind you that if you earned a bonus days coupon last month, those need to be redeemed before the end of the month. Also, our kids collection is on sale. It is an online only collection, and so I would just advise that you go to thepolkadotlife.com, click that shop tab, and search for kits and just see what all you can find. There are Christmas ones, there are just all occasion ones, there are masculine cards, there are feminine cards, there are more towards kid cards. There are some that don't require any stamping at all. You just assemble them. There's a little bit of something for everyone. But without further ado, let's put the camera down and get started on today's project. And we are going to be using some new Christmas products. The card I have for you today is a fun fold card. It is super quick and easy. We are going to be working with some of the new products from the new mini holiday catalog. So we are going to be working with the Merriest Trees bundle, and it has some nice images here and some nice sayings, and the dies are just where it is. Let me just slip that off there so you can see. There are so many tree dies and parts to trees and just different things. Now this designer series paper is also in the new mini catalog, and it is called A Walk in the Forest. I wish I could show you the inside of the catalog, and so you don't miss it. It's kind of hidden. It's right in the front. It's not with any other sweets or whatever. A lot of people have missed it. Demonstrators have missed it. But I wanted to show this to you. A lot of these images will be cut out, and I have a still photo to show you, but of course these large ones are all cut out by the large die. These ones are cut out. These ones are cut out. And then we have a punch for our bear. And so I wanted to show you this sheet that was not cut apart. So I wanted to show you some of these that are all, now I did punch one out just to make sure that it fit, but we just have so many. Now, I didn't go on to see if the little tiny trees cut out. They may, or else you may have to fussy cut them. But I also wanted to point out too that there are some that go off the page. Don't throw those away. Die cut those and keep those. These are great for inserts, or if you're going to be laying something over this anyway, part of it will be covered up. There are just a lot of different uses for this. Let's take these away and let's get one of our bears ready to use together. Especially when you have to cut out of designer series paper, you have to be real careful where you cut, and you usually don't have a lot of excess room between, because you don't want to waste another image. So this is cut in kind of close. And what I like to do, I like to take my seal, but like tear and tape would work, that kind of thing. But I like to make a little shim for in my punch. Here's our very cute punch. And I'm just going to open that up and know that I have to feed it in from this side. So I'm probably going to just go ahead and use this on this side. And then you just kind of want to slide this piece in. This little shim helps you to gain control. Now you can just lightly press on this punch and it will hold that image in place till you check to see. Now see, I let go of it and just a little bit and it moved. So there. and then you just squeeze and you have your bear. Now it does cut a little piece of that shim off, but that's okay. But we can save this and use it for the next one. I'll probably just, after I'm done filming, we'll probably just go ahead and cut all the rest of my bears out of this paper. And then it just has a tiny bit of seal, and you can just flip that over and rip that little tidbit of that shim off. Now, this is one of those fun folds, especially if you're doing Christmas cards. It is always good when you can do 2 at one time. So let's do that. I did not do that earlier on with my others, but there's no reason why we can't. So we want to take this to 10.5 inches. So out here, 10.5. We're just simply cutting 1/2 of an inch. You could also just measure it over here off of your 11-inch side. So it's now 10.5. And I have to run mine through a few times. I need a new blade on my trimmer, but I'm just trying to hold out for a little bit. So then we can just take this and score it on this long side. We're going to score it. Sorry, I have some things on my desk that's hanging me up there. 2.5. And let's use our scoring blade. So 2.5. And all these measurements will be on my blog for you. 3 3/4. 6 3/4. And so you have to come over here 6.5 on the other edge of this fold. And then 6 3/4. And then out to 8. Then we're just going to turn this, because this is the 8.5 inch size. We didn't cut anything off of this. Then we can just simply cut this at 4 1/4, and we will have an extra card base that I can use to create this fold again, either the same or different, as long as it's that color. I have 2 pieces of Designer Series paper, and I have 2 pieces of Garden Green cardstock. The back of my package of paper, and in the catalog or online whenever it comes out on September the 6th, it will tell you all of the coordinating colors. I didn't even have to figure that out. They have already done that work for me. That is one less decision that I have to make. So let's just take our multi-purpose glue. And oh, it's so hard to pick which papers you want to use. They're so pretty. I love, this is really one of the best catalogs that I have been a part of since I joined Stampin' Up. I don't know, I think I'm 5 or 6 years out without looking. I can't tell you because it's too hard to keep track of when you're having fun. And so this is just going to get layered into the center of this square. I'm gonna run my finger on that edge since that trimmer blade does need trimmed. Sometimes you'll get just a little edge there or on your cardstock, and all you need to do is run your fingernail over it and it will just lay right down, or your bone folder, either one. All right, I think that one is pretty centered. And we're going to do the same thing. There's another pretty print. Kills me to put glue on it, it does. But I know I can buy more if I use it. And let's be really honest, a lot of times we don't go through all of our Designer Series paper, but we should. We should be making these cards and blessing other people. There are just so many lonely people, hurting people, and we're heading into that time of year where if they've had a loss or whatnot, sometimes it's just so hard, and we just need to lift them up and send them some love, a little hug in the mail. So I have these two. I am going to use this piece for my front panel of my card. So I have a bear, and I have a tree, and I have this vellum, and it is cut with another one of our new products. Make sure I'm getting this in the view here. This is a deckled circle that I cut out of vellum. These deckled circle dies are so nice. There are just so many sizes in them too. I just couldn't believe it. So I know that probably about in here is where we are going to put that down. I don't really like to use liquid glue too much to adhere vellum. Sometimes it buckles on me, and I don't love that. But we know that we're going to be covering that up, so we can go ahead and put a little bit of our seal down there. And then this piece will just go on top. And since we have this solid piece to put it on in the back, again, I am not always a seal user, but for this I'm going to be. And I am just putting this flat down. Now for our bear, I do want to put some dimensionals on him. I just think that that would be very nice. Haha. Now, if at any point I decide there's not enough support under this bear, I can, since it is designer series paper, I can just slip a little mini dimensional under there, but I think we're going to be just fine. Let's see, I did not work this out ahead of time. I did not practice, so let's kind of put him up here a little bit. Let me just see here. We'll just see how this goes. One thing with the dimensionals, you have a little bit, they're kind of temporary at first, but then they really stick down. So I do have not necessarily wiggle room, but I do have some leeway there with that bear. We do have a little stamping, and I'm just going to bring in a piercing mat that's been covered with some grid paper, just to keep things a little cleaner. You know, I'm trying to keep my new surface nice and clean, so I'm just going to put that sheet of dimensionals down there. Now this is going to be our layer where we do our writing. And I just want to make sure I have this facing the correct way. Yes, I do. And you can put things wherever you like them. I'm going to put this one off to the side, just because it's not a great big place to write our greetings to someone in Christmas time. I think we usually write a little bit more on our Christmas cards. It's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine to get a Christmas card that only has someone's name signed on it. And I thought, why would you buy the card, pay the postage, take the time to address it, and at least not write a sentence on it? I mean, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? So let's just put this here. It says, hoping your home is filled with the spirit of the season. This gives us a few options of what we may or may not want to do with this greeting. Let's bring our card base in and fold it. And we are just going to start and fold it. Mountain, valley, okay? And we're going to give this a crease on this side. And then we are going to do the same, mountain and valley. and crease this. I'm trying not to get in here super hard because I don't want to leave a mark. But when we flip it over, then really kind of lean into that and give it a great crease so that it lays flat. Now, I'm not going to say it will always lay flat. And I'm just, again, smoothing out some of those edges of that cardstock from my trimmer. Sometimes after you decorate it, you may just have to put like a stamp block or a book or magazine on it just to kind of train it. It's paper, and sometimes we just have to take control of that and train it to do what we want it to do. Now, you will see in my examples, you can either make it so it opens this way or it opens this way. We are going to do the landscape version today. This is how I like to adhere mine. I like to use my green glue for this part. And there are a couple ways you can do it, but I like to take these first two sections, and you can see that if you just ignore this piece over here, that makes the nice perfect border around there. So that's what you want to look at when you're centering this up. Now, you only see this is where that fold is, so you want to kind of grab it here and flip it over to where you know you're only putting glue. And I'm going to stay back away because I can be heavy-handed with my glue. I know this about me. And I am just going to put down a nice layer, but I'm, like I say, I'm staying back from the edges and from that finger. I can go back after this dries. If it needs a little bit more glue, I can always just flip that back and get in there and just add a little bit if I think it's going to be a problem. But I've only had to do that just a few times. So there, fun. Oh, he's just such a happy bear. I love that. So then now it's not completely dried. If you want to give it a minute and let it dry, I'm just going to give mine a little back rub, and I just flip that open like that. Then I am going to take this piece and we are going to ignore this side. And then we can just center it here. So let's put our glue on. Squish that down, and then we are just going to, again, look at all four sides. You don't want to get up in this crease line here, but this is also going to cover up that back panel where we write too. Now you do want to flip this over before that gets really stuck down, and just kind of make sure that that lines up. I might scooch that up just a hair. There. And now these layers line up. Now, one thing, it may bother you, like on the designer series paper I chose, this little bottom of this bear is going to show from this side. So you can either do something to decorate over it that you don't care if it shows, or it doesn't bother me. I don't feel like these really compete with each other, so I am not too worried about it. I just wanted to make you aware. So this one, I don't think I want to leave as a big banner. So I am just going to bring our paper snips in. Now, this is a little bit longer up here of a sentiment. Sometimes I just like to bring in a longer blade scissor. I'm just gonna cut off this excess, just because if you're trying to do it straight, you can use your trimmer if you want, but if you use a longer bladed scissor, this is one of those times where it really works out well. However, I am going to put those back in the holder because it is so much easier to fussy cut with our paper snips. If you do not have paper snips, you are so missing out. You will want to buy multiple pairs. They are inexpensive and they really are a workhorse for all kind of things. Now I have one that's dedicated to ribbon, just like my mother had her sewing scissors, and anyone was threatened with their life if they touched them, because they were expensive. They were not inexpensive, and that was a luxury to be able to have it in those days. And so I have my ribbon snips. They're still the snips, but I keep a piece of ribbon tied on it, so my family knows that those are for cutting ribbon, and some bad karma will be coming their way if they touch my ribbon scissors. So these ones are just ones for paper and stickies and all those general needs. And you move your paper, not your scissors, and snip. And so that just takes a little bit of that bulk out of there, and it allows us to see more of our bear and of our tree. And I could put it up there, but I really have something else planned for up there, so I don't want to do that. So I think we're just going to put it right here. It's just going to overlap on that bear, just the tiniest bit on the end. This is one of those times where our mini dimensionals are good, but I didn't bring any over here. So don't waste the sides of your dimensionals. They are just wonderful. Same material and all. So we might not even need that much, but let's do that. And we're just going to peel our backing off. And we can just put it right down here. And it doesn't even have to be straight. I angled it so that all areas of this would have a little coverage. And then I am going to take, let's go ahead and get this on here first. It's kind of set here and dried, so I need to clean the end off. And let's add. And if it comes out fast, just kind of smooth it along there. And that's what I'm going to do here, is just smooth some of that out to the end. Because it's not needing the dimension here by the bear. The bear is up on a dimensional already. But we do want it to stick to the bear. And let me just look at this a quick minute from my angle, make sure that it is straight. And there. That is just how easy that has come together there. Okay, and we have our last layer. Like I say, this, I really think I'm just gonna have to give in and go ahead and change my blade. They are not too expensive. I don't know why I'm just holding out. Probably just a little bit of laziness to have to do it, to dig it out, because I don't keep those out because I don't use it very often. I don't have to do it very often, but I did a lot of cutting of things, and so I need to do it. Now this layer, I didn't cut the border as thick as the other layers, just because, oh, and you know what? We stamped that wrong. I stamped that wrong. Let's just do this. Now, you're also going to see that I made a mistake and I put glue on that. There are a couple ways to fix that. It has kind of been a day. So there's a couple ways. First of all, I would recommend trying this. This may not work since some of that pilled up there. I don't like that. So here's what we're going to do, because we can. Now I could take that off and take it apart. We have that other card base, But you know, in crafting, sometimes there are just things we have to deal with. And so this is just about 1 1/8, not even quite 1 1/8. And I'm just going to get into my stash here and get another piece that is even the correct length. And so let's try 1 1/8. Doesn't matter if the brown part is sticky because we're putting a layer on there, but this, let me just kind of lay that on here and check. Yeah, just a little bit smaller. So like 1 1/16 is what I'm going to cut that at. That is math I thought I would never learn to do, but I did. My father would have been so proud to learn that I finally learned how to properly read a ruler. Now, you know what? No one, if I take the time to send this card to someone, no one's going to even notice that that wasn't supposed to be there. And shame on them if they fuss about it. But there, now we're all fixed, and I didn't even have to put any more glue on that because it was tacky and it worked. Now we have a couple options here. We're going to put this in, and we're going to tuck it in close up to this fold, to this score line, but not quite tight. That way, when we close our card, it covers it over. And so you can either keep this on here and cut out a little tree or something. Now see, here's one of those little pieces. We could just cover up. And you know what? Let's do that because we don't really even need to stamp anything else. We'll just send this, since we've made this little boo-boo, we'll give that to someone that we like a little bit less, and we're not going to write as much on our card. So let's just do that. And let's put on a little bit of liquid adhesive. I say that, but I say that in jest, just because I've spent all day trying to figure out a new streaming service, and it has taxed my brain. And so I gave up and just said, you know what, we're just going to record this the regular way, and then we'll catch it. We'll do some more Intel work, and we'll catch that one on the next recording. So there we go. So this covers this up so you don't see it. It's very close. It comes out. That's why I just didn't put as much of a border. We want to scoot that up here so that it doesn't, we want to scoot it up here so that it doesn't impede with the fold. But you know what? I'm happy to show you my boo-boos so that you don't do them. But you know what? If you're a crafter, we all have those moments, and we just make the best of it. That's just what we do. We are a kind of a waste not, want not group. We try to tend to not waste things that we have invested, not just our dollars, but our time in. So we just want to be good stewards of the things that God gives us. So there. And I think that's super fun. It just is really, really cute. Now, like I say, if this part bothers you, you could, you know, put some sort of a little image in this paper. There are some little trees. You could just, well, that wouldn't be big enough probably, but a little grouping of trees you could just go ahead and put there if you just didn't like that piece of brown hanging out. But that doesn't bother me. I think he's kind of cute, and people are going to be doing this and then maybe even displaying that, standing it up. So there's one more thing that we need to do, and these are online exclusive. These are Adhesive Back Snowflake Assortment. And these just kind of are fun. And I thought it might be fun to add some white ones to our card. And let's maybe start with some of the big ones. Now, I don't think these will slide really well with the Take Your Pick tool. What I like to do, because you can just take that glue dot off the back of there, not meaning to. And sometimes you even have to pick them up and peel that sheet back and just get in there with your Take Your Pick tool. And let's kind of just do one that overhangs this a little bit, and that kind of helps that since it doesn't have any glue on it. Let's do a couple big ones. Maybe let's do one down here, kind of tuck it into our sentiment a little bit. That's fun. And then let's see, that's two. Let's do one of these mid-size ones. I mean, if you really wanted, you could put one on the tree there. Let's put one up here. I kind of like to keep a triangular thing coming. So let's put one here so that these two line up. Oh, that's two lined up. Let's carefully move that so we don't tear our vellum. That's a little too straightness too. Let's just put that one over here. So those are kind of in a little bit of a line. And then let's do that one. Now you could put them all over here if you wanted. It could be really snowing outside, but I just thought that that was fun. It kind of looked like a little bit of a snow globe. I just wanted something to anchor these two, and vellum is great for doing that. And I don't like the way that that is laying, so we're just going to bring that up and scoot that in a minute. There, that's much better. So super fun. Now, of course, I am going to make a matching envelope for this. I will do that off camera, and you'll see that on the still shots in my blog. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can just find that link to my blog post underneath in the description box. So I couldn't help myself, and I needed to break into more of our new product and play with it. This is from the Joy of Christmas Suite collection, and it is a double bundle set in there. So this Noel set is so pretty, and it's probably, you can't probably tell, but I did stamp this in the cherry cobbler, covered it with clear embossing powder, and then I heat set it. So I love that this is embossed. I love to do embossing, and I don't seem to do it as much as I should, but at Christmas I really like to just take things up a bit. There are so many dies and stamps in those two bundles, and they really, you kind of do need both of them to mix and match them well. And so that's what I did here. There are some sequins in that set that I added. The gems here. This is some designer series, or this is some specialty designer series paper that is on this panel, a regular that's on this. And then I just cut apart these greetings, Merry wishes to you and yours, and I added some of the little holly sequin, the holly leaves here. There are sequins, and then I added one of those gems. And I didn't take time to make an envelope for this one either, but I certainly will. Then I have some examples from our regular catalog. This one I got a little carried away with. I'm going to own that. We have a young man, one of our great nephews, who's having a birthday soon. And so he likes things loud, and that's just kind of who he is. That's his personality. And so I went ahead. I love the bright colors. So I used the Parakeet Party, Orchid Oasis. Let's see if clean that off here. If you do not have one of these erasers in your craft room, you just need to. It's a great thing, the gum eraser. It just takes care of all kinds of things. But anyway, I used our sea turtle set, and this is just super fun. So I've made that for his birthday, and I love it. I love it, love it. Now, if you wanted to have the scene the whole way across here and wanted to write additional, all you have to do is flip it over and just add a white layer here, and that will give you room to write. You could do it on all three of those if you wanted. And this doesn't have to go in the mail, so I really decorated his envelope up, and I used some die cuts on it. Now, you wouldn't want to do that if it was going through the postal system. You could stamp on it, but I wouldn't recommend using the die cut. And here is the Share a Milkshake card. That one's going vertical, and I put my sentiment and a design here, a little die cut on the inside, which you can. You want to just, before you glue it down, make sure that it is covered over and not hanging out the bottom here. But I think that that is super fun. You're the cherry on top. That could be a thank you, that could be a birthday, that could be all kinds of things, young or old. A good decide once gift is make up cards like that. If you have a lot of kids going to a lot of birthday parties, make it your decide once that you just get a gift card to a local ice cream shop and make those cards out of the Share a Milkshake bundle, and there you go. Just put you can even make a little gift card holder for that bottom pocket. Could be just a gift card holder, and that would be great. There's no wrapping paper involved, all those things. So here I have the Le Shops that I did one, and I did some die cutting, I love this lamppost, and I love the boho blue. Wish you were here. I apparently am getting just little bits over all my things. I just need to go and clean these off. My craft room has been busy getting ready for lots of samples for you. And this is the original one that I started, and it still might be one of my favorites. This is from the Inked and Tiled suite of products, and I love Lost Lagoon. I love this designer series paper. It has that punch, which I did one each and just kind of stacked them on top of each other. Put a little piece of that beautiful Lost Lagoon ribbon on it. A sentiment, and then just again the sentiment in here. Super easy. These are really nice. Like I say, if you are sending these, especially to a nursing home resident or something, these are really nice. They're easy just to sit up on a dresser and make them cheerful, make them happy, and they can just display their happy mail in their room, and they will be so proud. Any of the staff that come in and out of their room, they will be stopping and telling them all about this person who sent them a card. And so I just love that. It just is a nice tangible reminder that they aren't forgotten and that they are loved. So here we have several examples. This is just a very versatile layout, and it is great with anything that you already have in your home. If you don't have designer series paper, but maybe have an embossing folder, you could do some embossing. And for this layer in particular, if you just have cardstock and stamps, stamp it. Make your own designer series paper if you want to. But it is just such an easy layout, especially for holiday cards, for mass producing cards. This just really works well. So I hope that you will pull out something that you haven't loved on for a while in your craft room and show it some love and make one of these cards today. As always, remember to be kind, send a card, and do something creative. Bye-bye.